This episode of Shift Happens Catalyst Conversations is very special because I'm finally talking to Arianna. Maybe you haven't seen her, but you might have seen some artwork in the old episodes. And if you have seen any artwork on the wall, so today it's different. But if you have noticed these black and white paintings on the wall, these were hers. And today we have more colorful ones. We have like panther and that's jaguar or leopard? Jaguar. So we have the felines because we are actually going to talk about art and how art can also be a way how to start transformations and changes and shifts. Because she's an artist and she does so many different things. Also books. We also will talk about her books and illustrations. So yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself and what's your relationship with art?
Wow, thank you so much, first of all, to be here. And my relationship with art, I think, is a relationship like with a lover. So I'm very kind of, when you fall in love with a person and sometimes you want to do some other things because not always the relationship is flowers and paradise sometimes triggers you. So I think art triggered me a lot of in many ways. But at the end, you can't avoid to follow the call.
So art is calling you all the time. Sometimes you maybe fall out of love a little bit, but then you come back and you fall in love again, and then you make art like this when you're in love.
Yeah, it's obsession. I mean, it's like I think I started draw when I was very, 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 very little. Many people starting when they are 4 and 3, but for me, it was really something very important. So I was taken seriously. So I can spend the one afternoon drawing, 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 repeating one drawing to have the effort that I want, and I get frustrated when I couldn't have it. So it was really from the beginning a very committed relationship.
Wow. Already as a child, you were trying to make it perfect and make it look good.
Yeah, I mean, they're very good, but I remember my mother, she was sketching very easily, faces of women especially. I remember the eyes. And I was trying to do the same and I couldn't. And so I was saying, no, I want to do the same. So I was insisting, insisting. So somehow I feel there was a very, deep connection since when I was very, very little.
So it was already coming from your family because your mother was also sketching things.
Yeah, my mother she has the ability, but she's not passionate probably, but she's very able to draw. My father too. And my grandmother from my father, she was painting naturally. And yeah, I have a part of my family that they were involved in art, especially music more than art. So violins, the piano, but still, yes, this field.
So natural talent. Did you ever study art?
No.
Wow. And I'm like making comics and paintings like this and you never studied. Wow. So it's all coming from the inside.
Yeah, I think it comes from, yeah, when you have some passion and you start to do it. And for me, it was like fun, very fun. Especially I remember when I was in the summer in my grandmother and grandfather house. And probably I was with them. So I was playing alone a lot of hours. And I was drawing. I remember my grandfather bring me these books with the pin-up, the drawing of the pin-up. And I was fascinated by this woman with all these dresses. And so I think I started to replace and to copy somehow. So I didn't study art, but at the beginning I was trying to redraw some scenes of these women and even dresses. I was fascinated by the dresses. So I was making dresses to my Barbies. So probably that there was a moment in which I was training myself with my alone time and, try. And
You were making life fun for yourself.
yeah.
And knowing you, I know that you also always make life fun for yourself and also for others. You are the sunshine in the, I don't know, in the group of people. You're always like, oh, the sunshine, the person with ideas, who brings the energy, who lights everybody up. So you were already doing that when you were little.
I mean, yeah, when I was younger, like a child, I was not so expansive. I was not so extrovert. Probably I become more when I grow. But when I was little, I was a little bit introvert. So for me, it was a place when I was feeling safe. It was feeling a good place to stay, and when I could express myself and have fun, basically. Yes, and making comics of the teachers in schools, making comics for my brothers. And it was a way probably to relate me with others also. doing comics, doing little sketches of my thoughts and making fun and jokes. So it was this my spirit.
But it wasn't only for you. You were also showing your art to other people.
Yeah, at the beginning, I was very serious with myself. Like I was drawing the houses, how I want to make the decoration of the things. So I was really really documenting my thoughts at the beginning. But then, yeah, so it was for me all the time. It was like something that I was doing for my pleasure. But of course, then when I was in the secondary school, probably I started to do the journal of the institute, like making the comics for the school. So that was nice for me. And so I was surprised by the reaction of people. For me, it was very stupid drawing somehow. I didn't judge myself like good. But when I see people smiling with all these comics that I was doing, for me, it was something beautiful.
Actually, the first time I came to Barcelona, so it was like 1.5 years ago. And again, just for a month. I didn't live here yet. And then I went to book club. So this is like this self-development kind of meeting where we talk about books, we talk about consciousness, growth. And you also came, Arianna, and you were sitting next to me. And while everybody was talking, you were also making sketches of everybody who was speaking. So on my very first day in Barcelona, I got this gift, this picture of me. Like I was like, wow, this Barcelona, this feels like magic. So my very first day, I got a gift from you. Your eyes drawing.
It was a destiny. Yeah, I mean, I truly believe that it's very beautiful when you have a gift like a talent that probably I think I was talented in drawings, whatever I did, even if I didn't study. So I think it's nice to share the gift with the world and with the people. And of course, then I transformed this in a profession in my life, becoming an artist and I become as an author, doing books, and I create my own activities.
So you said that you transformed into an artist. Was it like a gradual process? Like just very naturally evolving into an artist? Or was it like one day you wake up, okay, I'm going to be an artist?
Well, for me, if I have to tell you, so that's something I want to share with the person, probably the people who are looking this video. No way. And until certain age, like I think 20, 33, I never imagined I could become what I am now because I have a very big conditionment from my family, especially my mother, that she split from my father when I was 6. So for her, it was very important that I become independent financially very early. And so when I was drawing, she was a little bit worried somehow that I was believing too much in this. So for her, it was not a way that I could create a sustainable life from this. So she always these incentives. She said, you know what, Ariana, art doesn't bring you anywhere. Or to be a very good artist, you have to have a great talent. So I was not very pushed in this way to believe that art could be a profession.
But how did you end up drawing comics for big companies, for example?
So even myself, I didn't take seriously. So for me, it was like a way to entertain myself and people, but didn't really believe in that. But then what happens? I think I just have this. So I studied economics. I studied economics, the university. It was the way to provide land for myself to work, serious work somehow. So I was thinking art was not serious. That was my belief, a belief that was, imprinted. But then during the university, I have some crisis. Then I've been in Mexico in the Erasmus. And Mexico is completely a country full of colors. It's the color country, I think, because you go, you see all the streets, the houses, it's so incredible landscape, so incredible. The association, the color, the way they use it is super free. So I get so much inspired by this experience. And I think in that moment, it awakes me the realization that there was a calling for me in this direction because I was feeling so happy in Mexico, really. Oh, yes. I was feeling very happy in Mexico and very, very inspired by the colors. They have fluorescent colors, especially the ancient population of Indians, which all they have all these, the tejidos. I don't know how to say in English, but it's like the textile. There was incredible, fluorescent color, and was this wow, and I could breathe from this, the energy, the happiness, the connection with nature, and so that's make me a click to say, wow. there is something. There is something for me. Probably there is something serious. And this calling becomes very strong.
So you really had to go away from your home country, Italy, and go very far on the other side of the ocean, away from family, conditioning, and really be independent on your own to realize that.
Yeah, I was 22 in that moment. And probably happens to you too. I don't know. Sometimes we need to go far from the comfort zone somehow. The sometimes it's not even comfort, it becomes very like Alice in the Wonderland. There is a moment in which she grow and the house, she can't stay in the same house because her body grow and she can't fix with she can't stay in this environment and she need to find another environment to know herself and her potential. And that's probably what happens to me. When you go in at your this age, you go far from your, country, family, you feel more free to explore yourself, to be who you want. And probably, yeah, of course, this freedom give me freedom to feel more. Absolutely.
And how did you end up drawing comics for companies? How did you get into this?
Yeah.
Did you have like, I woke up one day, had this one idea, okay, I'm just gonna offer myself to draw comics. So was somebody inviting you to be
Exactly.
there?
So just, of course, there is some kind of, I think that when we have a big change in our life, especially in the trajectory, there are some kind of catalyst experience that comes on your way when you start to ask the universe somehow to really follow your true call, your true nature. So I observe always in my life that when we want to really go in the direction of our soul, the avant people appear and show up in a mysterious way. So for me, it was a gradually, it's not like from one day to another, oh, maybe I'm an artist. Oh, let's do that. No way. No, there was a preparation to start to act and to test myself because I didn't really prove myself what I can create. I didn't know myself, what I can do, which is my style. What is the copies? What is the painting? What is that? So for me, there was another very key experience that I did when I was 24. That was very, yeah, very close to Mexico. And probably for me, a catalyst was connected to the ancient culture. So Mexican, and then I read a book of a shaman. The name was Mamani, and he's a curandero of the Ande, so of Peru.
Curandero is kind of like a witch, or what does it mean?
Curandero is a person that heal people, a healer, a healer of his community. So there are different type of healers in the community in Peru, and there are, this healer that named curandero because they take care of the people. Can be in a very simple way, so they can use herbs. They know how to use herbs to heal physical problems, but also there are curanderos or healers, we can say, that can heal more existential problems, and so they bring the person a journey to really, in a way, find the balance and the harmony within themselves. And this man was a curandero, but he has this journey. So I go in a library one day, I see his face in a book, I take it, I was attracted, and it was talking about his life, and I resonate so much. And then I take another book of him that was talking about the prophecy of the curandera. So we're talking about the power of the woman regarding to this, I mean, connecting to this culture. And so I was so amazed. So for me, it was like, so there was before to step into art fully like a job and like a work and have the courage to follow this path, there was a path to become aware of my power like a woman in an unconventional way, and never heard this concept that I read in this book. And I was like, wow, it's like you open the Aladdin cave, It's like, wow, the treasure is there. And sometimes the treasure is knowledge. Is knowledge that you don't have access in your society, probably because we have a very patriarchal society, very oriented to the logic way of how mind function. And I really need to know what is also new spirituality that was not Catholic, that was not like the Western one that we have here. And this opened this door of connecting with Mother Nature, understanding there is this flow of energy in us and how it works and the difference between one man and woman and what does it mean to be a woman really and the potential. Yeah. So when I just read this book and I just start to get in touch with this knowledge.
So just one book was a catalyst for you. and it just opened a new world for you.
Yeah, because I think it's like a domino effect. Because then from the book, I see this person. That was my mother. She said, "Hi, this person do a workshop here in Italy." Just no way. I can't believe it's there is worship with this person in live. So I say,
In Randero?
yeah,
Wow. And here
in Italy.
so he's from Peru and he comes to Italy.
Yeah, while I was living in Italy. So that's what I say. And I want to say to the person who's looking now at this video, life is magical. Life is pure magic. And I mean, that doesn't mean that you don't have to be rational and to be responsible for your life, of course. But I think that when you tap into your heart and you open up, things happens in a magical and mysterious way. So such important to trust these magical aspects of life that match us when we open up our heart to the impossible somehow, to what we consider is impossible. And then happens people experience. So after the book, I go to the workshop and it was my gift for my birthday. So I didn't have the money in this moment because I was starting to work. I just finished university. And I remember I asked all my family members to make me a donation for this workshop. And so this is how I started. So that's the message. If you want something really, you can get it. If you really put intention, things show up, people support you. Not always is like that, but it's very important the determination to really go in this direction. And so I start this path and it changed completely my life because I start to become aware that like a woman, Mm. I can redesign my life in the way I wanted. That was the big insight that I did because I make this experience with this person, with other 70 women. We were together and 4 days in the nature, deepening our relationship with our energy and knowledge about what the woman can do. And so that was very transformative.
So like kind of like connecting with your power is coming from inside.
Yeah, it is this incredible dimension we have inside. I talk about women because that was my experience that I did. And I also probably there will be a woman listening to this video. So I really want to invite the women that are listening now and to really explore this potential and unlock it because it's always there. But if we don't have the knowledge or somehow person experience to trigger it, sometimes it's hidden and we don't assess. So what I did in this experience was like a proof. So the experience to test what we can do. So like, I don't know, different things, walking in the night, alone in the woods, in the forest, face the fears, basically. We have access to face the fears in that moment. And when you face the fear and you overcome the fear, you acquire power.
So you got to power. And how did you continue doing art after this?
Because the thing, when you come back to your power, like a woman, you understand that many things in your life are not satisfying you. Probably you are compromising yourself. And you start to feel that obviously many situations don't match with your desire and your inner vocation. So when I come back, I start to analyze my life and I see even my work was not anymore, respond to my necessity to express my creativity. And so I started gradually to shift, to change my work, to go in the direction what I was feeling it was better. So I go in, I says, you know what, I have to work. So I want to do something that also enrich myself. I don't want to give my energy away for something that I don't trust, that they don't nurture in me. So I start to change. So that's the thing is gradually change and doing a work with the man. And that's what I started to do comics. Is this man was doing a PNL Umanistica Integrata, was Mauro Scardovelli in Italy. And he was bringing this concept of NPL, with a humanistic trajectory and neurolinguistic requirement. Exactly. I start in that because this is okay. In the meanwhile, I'm working, I'm researching with him, I'm learning. So I want to learn. And in that moment, I start to say, wow, how I can help him to spread this knowledge so important for the quality of life. And I start to say, oh, I will do comics for him. I will translate his thoughts in comics. And I start to create books. So that's how I started to bring my art to something to help people to evolve through art. At this moment, art was comics because they are very useful for channeling things in a funny way.
So first, you evolved through art, and now we're helping other people to evolve through art as well. And as somebody who illustrates books for other people, you're also helping somebody else's message to reach more people. So art is like a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there is this, I'm not invented. This says one image speaks more than 1,000 words. So when you synthesize concept in one image, you talk to different levels of the person, and you can express sometimes much more than if you have to read all the passages. And it was nice, of course, it's nice.
Again, when you look at an image, the emotion comes faster because you just see the image like poof, and immediately have some kind of reaction. With the text, it takes time to get into the same kind of emotion.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly, because we are storyteller. We like stories. So you can really relate it to the image, and you can relate your emotions, your inner world. You can find an immediate, as you say, an immediate resonance because there is a personage a lot of time that probably you can identify with. And that makes the process to understanding easier because there is more layers of communication. And of course, when you talk to the emotion, you talk to not only the logical mind analyzing the words and the meaning, but you talk to your imagination. So you open up the imagination also. And is another way to know the word. And so that's probably why image can be powerful for when you want to make a transformation.
Hmm. Okay. And now you're also using images to transform other people. I know that you call it like soul awakening and soul portraits. So maybe tell us a little bit more about the soul portrait and how you're using this as a tool to help somebody evolve into a better version of themselves.
Yeah. So soul portrait is a session and also a portrait the person receives during the session when I draw the face. And in time, I have to say a little bit coming back to the past, because after doing the comics for this institution, I start to invent a service to translate the speech of people during heavens in comics immediately. So I did it even now for years. 20 years. I start to do this to go to the heavens for big company, listen to the speaker and translate in comics. So have the 100% attention to the person, listening, and translating in drawings. So, and parallelly, I start to paint and making, art. And so I start to get used to stay very concentrated with art, colors, and people. And I think this combination of this practice and my personal growth path, that all that was I was doing on myself, or my exploration, because I never stopped it after this workshop with the curandero. I continued to experience, to discover myself. And casually, I remember the wedding of a friend of mine, I decided to gift her to make the sketches of all the guests. So I was in a place with a tree and people come and I was making the sketch of the face of these people, and it was my gift for her to celebrate her marriage. And suddenly I discovered when I was drawing the face that I have some sensation about talents that this person had. And I started to say, oh, maybe you are a good actor. No, I says, oh my God, I can see you can act very well. And I say it, very like superficially, just thinking it was my impression. But then the people start to cry, to have a very strong reaction to this message. And so casually, I discovered that I have this capacity to draw the face of people. And from the face, somehow the portrait talked to me and revealed me some messages for the person. So it was like I call soul portrait because I feel the soul of the person talked to me through their face. And then in the years, I just develop it. And now it's an experience, it's a journey. Now 1 hour and not 2 hours, I just draw the faces in black and white. And I look at what is the message. And then I put the colors, and the colors give an idea how that person can bring the message into their life with actions in 1 year, more or less. And I know this will continue to evolve with myself in my life. So now I'm just offering also to do the painting after the soul portrait session. So, because everything in life in the universe, I think, grows, it has expansion. So even this is expanding and beyond my imagination. Every time is something new. And so that was my.
So kind of connecting with some kind of higher source and channeling the message. And this is coming through art. Then you can like deliver this message to the person that you're like drawing.
Mm. Yes, I don't say this to people because when you say I'm connected to the higher source, people think that I'm channeling like a medium, something for the others. And I don't feel it's like that. I feel is more that the higher source probably is you, if I do a soul portrait of you. So I do believe we are multidimensional person. So we have different layers inside of us, and there is one is very high, it's very connected to the, to the divine, to the whatever. Is our essence, our soul is super sacred. And I think I connected to this essence of the person. And because of the portrait reveal super different messages. So I can say completely different things to different people. And this is because I'm responding to the person. And this is a very, I think is me, the person, the soul, and the portrait. And I don't see any kind of entity tell me to say to this person something. That's very important to say.
So it's the person themselves who is kind of revealing, and you see things about this person while you're drawing them.
Exactly. That's very interesting to share because a part of what I'm doing and this experience I'm offering is also, I discovered that the nucleus of us is pure love. That's what I discovered. I can feel the person all through the portrait, the experience that she or he had, the trauma or the pain or the beautiful things hidden. They want to be shown, they want to be manifested. And so I'm always learning from people also. Learning, actually, I'm learning from them. I'm learning from everybody who made the soul portrait because I'm learning the potential like human beings we have in this life. And this potential is connected to the essence, to this, I call it soul, because I do believe is the soul. And so it's really incredible and it touched my heart every time because I feel it's a super unique opportunity to be in this space of witness the beauty that the people has inside.
And you also said that the colors that you add to this black and white drawing, they also tell you some kind of message about the person. So give us some examples. For example, what does pink mean? What does yellow mean?
Mhm.
Do the colors always have the same meaning, or is it also depending on the person?
Exactly. No, they don't have the same meaning. Yeah, this is interesting. So the black and white phase is like a book. It's like reading the book. When you read the book, is the black and white word. So I just the eyes, all the things that are in the portrait, I look at them and have impressions and pop up says things from the life of the person, from the black and white. But then there is the moment in which there is a message, like a letter the soul wants to give to the person. So I write this letter, I write the message. So the colors, there is a sequence, the colors. So I put one color and after one other color, there are layers. It's like bringing the light to this person. It's like the rainbow. And the colors have specific meaning depending by the message of the soul of this person. So of course, colors have general meaning. Like for example, I can tell you green is like balance, is harmony, is natural, is trees. Yellow is connecting to the light, to the sun, to the ideas. So of course, there is this. Orange is about creativity, sexuality. So there is this, of course, this meaning general. Pink is about love. Depending by the pink, it can be fuchsia, can be also sensuality, can be also different things. Violet is transformation. So of course there is general meaning. Brown is more branding, and the red is heart, is opening, is movement, is putting action in what you want to realize. But then I always model depending by the situation. And also when I put the color, it's not about the meaning, the general meaning, but they give actions. So they says, okay, now for the next 2 months, and it pop ups an idea. You have to go to the forest and make this exercise and meditation. And then I put maybe the pink. Okay, the pink invite you to buy new dresses. So it's very creative. I put these colors on the painting, but there is this color action. So there is all these actions and the
Color action. So action coming from a specific color.
exactly. And honestly, if now I have to tell about how is my view of art and colors when I paint, for me, colors is like musicians of an orchestra with who I play. So they are kind of my people. For me, it's like a team. So for me, when I paint something, I can see that the yellow, like it has a personality, is like a live creature, something like that. So for me, they are masters. So when I take the color, I take, these energies that are bring through the colors and trying to combine them and to create some kind of music, some symphonies that in a way bring some new vision and new input to the person.
And then you also give the person some kind of homework or things to do in the 3 months, in 6 months, something like this.
Yeah, there is a sequence. But this is till now, because as I told you, this soul portrait will evolve in time and probably it will change in the time. But till now, yes, the colors give actions because you have a message. Imagine you go to the session, you have a written message, you feel moved, and then you come back to your normal life. And you can forget the message sometimes because we are humans. We have so many things. So the color action is meant to bring the message in the practical way, and it's always through movement. Move something in your life. Because if you don't move something, if you don't do new actions, the message is difficult. It comes to you. So you have to really put attention and it's like a path. It's like a path you have to follow. And I think this is something interesting that people appreciate to have a kind of.
And even if when you do it online, you will still send the actual drawing to the person by post.
Yes.
So they will receive this on paper and then hold it and put it on the wall of the.
That's what people do. They put in the frame, they put in the wall, and when they look, not the painting, this drawing, they remember all the session. And also, of course, I send the video registration if it's or the audios if it's alive. But the thing is, in the portrait, there is all the content that we share, all the emotions, all the energies, all the things that happens in these hours. Enough, that is a pretty a lot. Is impressed. So the person unconsciously look in this image and remember. So there is a dialogue, is a way that they say, okay, the soul showed to you in your life, a certain point of your life. There was a next moment in your life in which there is a soul talking to you. And that's, I think, is cool. I mean, I think it's nice to have this physical track that there was a soul talking to you and give you an impression of that moment. Probably after 1 year, the soul portrait can change because we are
always changing as well. We are changing.
Yeah, because there is a experience the soul wants you to do, the things they want to embark. You want she or he, whatever, wants you to start, and probably, in fact, when there is the soul portrait session, I know I talk to a certain point of the life of the person. I don't say everything because it's important the person assimilate this information. So can be too much, say too many things. So it's very important, but this is natural, is organic, is always calibrated. That's why I think it's nice.
And you also said that this is now evolving into a painting. So after this drawing, this portrait, you can also make like real full color peak painting, like this, but with humans. So the painting that you also want to start doing now, is this about the person or what's the idea behind that?
I realize because this is kind of, what Steve Jobs says that we understanding sometimes who we are when we connecting the dots of our life. So we live experience separately, and certain points we connect the dots and we have a new vision of what we're supposed to do next. So for me, like in the latest 20 years that I paint, like paintings like this, I discovered that the paintings as a kind of capacity to drive in our life certain kind of qualities. Like the Felines can be, the determination and the sensuality and or situation that you can paint and becomes real in your life just because you see them and you're always there. So I noticed the manifesting power of images, and especially painting, because there is the energy of the painter, of the artist there. And so now I'm just opening this new path of the painting and soul portrait and putting together that I never did. I never did that. But it's like doing the soul portrait, you have a lot of information from the person, even visual. The soul is very poetic. So talk to you in a very poetic way. And she suggests and she whispered to you images to connect you to your mythical image. So I start to say that the people has a mythical image. And so the idea is to do, well, two things for everybody can be the painting of the face with the symbols that pop ups from the paint, from the soul portrait can be symbols of very personal. So the person can have his own portrait but painted with colors that are matching with the soul portrait coming from the soul portrait to them, and symbols and images in the background that are resonated with the message of the soul. That is the one thing.
So let's say somebody wants to have this painting and they get home. Should they like hide it from other people and just only have it maybe in the bedroom where only them can see that? Or should you also show it to the other people who visit your home, for example? What would you recommend?
I mean, the question is, if you live your life, would you hide your soul to people or would you show yourself for who you really are? I think the best thing you put the painting in the people can see, because so they can recognize your essence, and that's also will drag to you in your path people resonating with your true essence. I think we don't want to waste time with people that don't understanding our essence, because also we are in a time everything is accelerated, I do believe, and we need to really follow our path. And we need to also have people somehow who recognize us for who we are and really appreciate our uniqueness. And so that happens with many cases with my paintings. There are people looking at the paintings, even this, and this is, wow, resonates so much. And so I know there is a connection with this person because they can feel my energy, they can feel my word, and they resonate. And then we discover we have a kind of soul connection. There are people who says, wow, this man is nothing. And probably we are in different spectrum or different position in life. So it's good to show, but also it's very personal. If you want to show, show. If you don't want to show, don't show, because also the mystery has the power.
So if you're showing your soul, would the best time to do like a soul portrait be when you're like feeling very good? Or maybe because when you're like feeling like super down and super bad, the soul portrait is also a bit dark and you don't want to see that? Or would you also recommend do it when you're like really feeling, ugh, everything sucks?
I mean, the soul portrait normally comes to you for a reason. So people come to me for a reason, and there is nothing is confidential. I mean, there is also meaning. A person come to me and making the soul portrait. Is her or his soul want to reveal to the person? So for me, I have no recommendation. So the important thing is if you feel it, do it. Whatever is your appearance, because sometimes you have a very shitty appearance because you need to transport something. So you need it to really tap into your colorful essence. So because it's not a statical portrait, but this is something interesting. When I do this portrait, sometimes the person looks more feminine, more masculine, younger, older. It's not literal. It's more of the inside. And when I see the portrait, sometimes even I don't recognize the person. But it's very curious. The person always recognize her or himself. And they want it and says, oh, I can see myself. So this is a wow. Physically, with the physical eyes, I don't see yourself, but they recognize something of them. And that's very magical. When you talk with the essence of someone, doesn't matter how it feels in the personality.
So this is for both men and women. And they also know that you are tapping into something called like females and felines, like felines like these the big cats here.
Yeah.
So maybe tell us a little bit about that direction as well. What's the idea behind females and felines?
Yeah. So in my path, I just started with this curandero many years ago. I discovered that we have a essence like a woman that are very wise and is very connected to our wildness, wild part somehow, nature. They are connected to nature, and we are nature. We are part of nature somehow. So especially for the women, the feline, I believe that has a lot of characteristics that match with some female characteristic of the way the woman is designed, even physically. If you see the man has some kind of square shape, the woman has these curves. And the curves is very about sensuality, about fluidity, it's very feminine. There is something very elegant when you see the curves, very flowing, magnetic. And so for some reason, in my personal path, I discovered that when I was painting, Felines giving always me energy, feminine energy, empowering my spirit to don't give up, to move on, but in a gentle way. So not in a, let's say, violent one, but just you go for what I was important for me, but proceeding in an elegant and good way. So when I was painting Felines, I was feeling this energy flowing me again. And this is an energy of pleasure. We don't have to suffer to achieve what we want. We have to really flow with our nature. And so the connection with the white is very important for the woman to come back to her or her true power. That is the instinct, the intuition that the woman has spontaneously when she tap into her nature, when she's humming her rhythm, her cycles, her way of feeling reality, her time. That is not the time that sometimes society imposed to us to be productive 24/7. No way. We have rhythm. That is also the menstrual cycle tell us when we have the cycle. We are not productive in the, even our body have a shift in hormones. So there is always this kind of movement. So coming back to this, the painting and the woman, the female, my idea is like to do also the soul portrait session for the women to really stack and pop up what is not in harmony in them and why they're not very happy with their life or what they have to unlock in themselves. And then create a painting with them and the feline associated to that image to really is like reinforce this wide part of the women. So especially nowadays, I feel the woman has to really bring their leadership in the society. The society needs women taking the leadership in a feminine way, but we don't have so many role models about this. So even the woman who take the leadership in society and politics looks like man, women that dress like man and act like man. So there is a lot of exploration. What does it mean to be a leader like a woman in society? But the feminine is a super good animal to empower and enable the woman to step, first of all, in their energy, and second, in the power to speak their truth in society and follow their dreams and act based on that. Like the feeling when you go for his holiday on the break, entering the break. Of course, I want to say that the woman has to become hunters. But the thing is, hunting your dream, yes, don't give up and just unifying yourself, both the masculine and feminine energy somehow. But this is passed from connecting with your wild nature and use it mindfully.
So how do you do that? When you start painting this woman and feline, do you also talk to the woman and find out something about her? What's the process like?
So the process, because I'm just like designing it and I'm evolving it, is making first of all the soul portrait to see what is the blockages and what is the message, the soul of the woman.
And when you're making the soul portrait, you're also talking to the person in the process. You're not just quietly drawing.
No, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
At the beginning, even I converse without even notice what I'm doing because I completely disconnect with my mind somehow.
So your hand is just drawing and you're
talking.
You're talking.
Yeah, I'm talking. So it's like a two separate channels. But then when I read it to the prompt to read the drawing, it starts a true deep conversation. Well, I mean, there is a conversation before. It's gradually. I like the word organically. Growing organically way of proceed. I don't believe in a very dramatic shift because this is for me is kind of violent. If you see natural, everything is gradual. So is organic way to deep inside of the person and even the portrait. You go deep inside, but very, very gradually. And so the person can feel it, she's in control in a way. She's not, you know, she doesn't have a person says, "Oh, I'm at the bull and I tell you which is the truth and I tell you what you have to do." No way. The reason that we are in the same level. There's probably some kind of leadership new model we should learn. We are not trying to, put up to someone else, but we go together. And the person who has a gift share with you, enable you to enter in your gift, to become the master that you're supposed to be. So it's really about support each other. That's what I see. So when there is this process and the women start to understand and open up like a rose, she open up, things happens, and so it's a journey. It's like we are in the jungle of ourselves. So now we see what is the creatures there, what is the monsters, what is the fears, what is the thing. And then when you do this portrait, okay, so I can understand the colors. I can see this person, the woman, through her colors, because what is their passion, what she's supposed to do. So what is the color of the background? Probably is for you is violet, but for another woman is pink, for another woman is yellow. So depending by who you are, there's also friend with color, or maybe 3 colors friend for you. Normally are 3. And so this is the colors we use. And then the filing the pants. You can have, probably there is the black panther for you is better, or maybe it's a tiger, or maybe it's a jaguar. And the thing is, really imagine you, this is very, for me, is about my instinct, by my experience like an artist, to be sensitive to you and to feel and to see what resonate with you. And when you feel like, there is always a response that is very immediate when you find something is truthfully for you. You don't have even to speak. You don't have to analyze. You just feel it. Oh my, yes, that's what I want. It's like when you choose a dress. You don't have to describe it. You see this, oh my God, this is my dress. So this is also the way I'm thinking the painting works organically like that. And then you have this, the naked woman in the see herself like a beautiful goddess in the jungle with the feline, and probably write her purpose, what she wants to bring in her life, and see this image. And that is a precious, is like, that's the thing I think in psychocybernetic, in the book, they talk how is important the self-image. So a lot of women have a very bad self-image of themselves. And that's why they don't act. They underestimate themselves. So if you have a version of you painted is very beautiful, powerful, in the jungle, with the feeling, with all these energies around you, I do believe the self-image is really communicating your unconscious mind. And day by day, you start to assume that you are this person.
Wow.
What do you feel about that? I'm curious.
It's just cool because as cat owner, I'm very connected to the felines and the big cats. Of course, yes, I have a small cat, but she's also like kind of like you know her, and she has this very special character, and I feel that she has a lot of magic in her. So I really connect with the cats and the felines. I'm like, yeah, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
And like so, the feline painting, it's like a naked woman, and then some kind of cat, big cat that comes to your mind, and you would just pick the cat on the instinct, or is the mama like, okay, I want to be painted with a lion? If somebody tells you that, but you don't see that, would you still paint this woman with a lion?
Well, I think I should feel it with her, because it's like the soul portrait. It becomes very clear what is the best option for you when you dive into this very sacred space, this very special space in which you really connect to your soul. And well, now I'm thinking about Felina, because I believe is an animal that really empowers the leadership. And probably in the future, there will be evolutions also in animals. Why I don't feel that I have to, I'm going to say, to limit my evolution even in doing this. But now that's what I feel to do, because that's what I think is very important, to bring this assertiveness, to bring this sensuality, this beauty, and this capacity to act in the world. Probably there will be a phase in which I will offer something different. Probably I will offering, maybe I will paint another totem animal with you, whatever you need. It has to be a feline. The thing of the feline, I think, is really empowering a woman to take a step in the world, and without fear, without, without.
People procrastinating and felines without fear, like it sounds already. This is without fear and felines, and yeah, it's great. It's like it's a play of words as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And the animal should bring the woman to her wild power. And I talked this also with a woman when I was in Bali, that she's Robin Lim. She's a famous woman. She has obstetric center. She helped the woman to give birth with the lotus birth in a natural way. And she saved a lot of women also through this. And she received a premium worldwide from her activism in supporting women in this. And I remember I interview her and I say, what is the advice you would give to a woman now after all having so many women to give birth? And she says, well, what needs the woman now is to come back to her wild nature, trust her wild nature. And I do believe, probably to compensate, we are now in a moment in which we have so much. The development of technology has a rhythm that is no way. Even our brain can't probably stay with the same velocity of how technology is really completely transforming our life. Artificial intelligence is becoming quicker and quicker a substitute for the humans in many ways, in the jobs and things. And this causes, I think, and I see a lot of disorientation about, wow, so what is my role? What I was doing before now is completely replaced from intelligence that is even more efficient than me because it never make mistakes. So there is a need for the people to reconnect to what is the nature, what is the treasure to be human and not artificial.
Hmm. And the big cats can help you with this.
I got the cats are they never they want. If you think about, I mean, I love dogs. All the people love dogs. I love dogs. I love other animals. But the Felines is so independent, so it's very difficult to condition, in a way, create a conditionment in a feline because they are very connected to their instinct and they don't give up. So they really are faithful to what they want. So I think it's important to remember whatever is the change in our society, technological, whatever, you still are in charge like a leader of this movement, not to be the person who are a victim of that. But you have to remember your true power like a human being or discover, if you don't know.
Yeah. And you can put, yeah, is it do it through art? Because art can also be the catalyst for change. You can start then transformation in you. You will give them like this first step. And then, after this, they will just take all the wisdom that you give to them. And they are responsible for the growth that's happening afterwards.
Yeah. A lot of time people are saying they want to paint, they want to draw. So they want also themselves to express themselves artistically. So art is like a way to become closer to the creator in you. Super, super important.
Yeah. They're amazing. Let's talk about the books a little bit.
Yeah.
And tell me, how did you even get into illustrating books? So if somebody is also dreaming about doing that, what was your journey?
Yeah. It's a random journey because I started to do comics for company. I started to do art for an exhibition. And then people and then I started to do books by myself of my character. And like this one you have, yeah. And this is about, yeah, my connection with the trees. And so, of course, when they see the books I did for myself, there are people who wants to have draw.
Oh, beautiful colors.
Yeah, it looks like you. Right. Right. I think it's very silly. So yeah, I was using this. I think people will love about this. They see the childish and fun and pleasure and lightness that you can have with
Just look at all these colors.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's a couple in nature. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow, yeah, they're talking. Because this was a message that really gave to me about how we have to how we can create a more harmonized society. So this was
But yeah, just look at those colors. Come on, people.
yeah, colors from I think is the way we can a code of the soul, very colors.
Did you also write? Okay, you also wrote this one.
I did everything, yeah.
Okay, this is fully you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here it is. So this is about trees, and the message is from trees.
From a tree, especially one tree.
One tree.
I talked to this tree for 1 month. So it's strange to say, but I talked to this tree for 1 month and I received messages and I connect to the tree. And so that was a message about how we have to really. It's very you. I think it's very.
It's like you. So before you even knew me, you were already drawing me running around naked.
Thanks.
Exactly. Good.
Yeah. So the thing is, was the people say, "Wow, I would like to draw from my book," and I start to do it. And it's a pleasure, honestly. I like to work in a co-creation situation. So I like when a person has some evolutionary topic to find a metaphor and to decide how we want to shape it and to put this with the colors and new version to channel their message and accompany their text. And that's something that's very enjoyable for me because I'm learning from them and we are creating something for everybody. That is kind of bored.
Yeah. So this one is co-creation with Miranda Gray.
Yeah, I mean, that's not so co-creation, but Miranda Gray is a best-selling author of Red Moon, the book about the menstrual cycle and the power of the menstrual cycle, and that the woman is cyclic. So basically, she's bringing to the world this knowledge that doesn't come from her. I mean, there's also other ancient knowledge about that, but she has the merit to channel in a very organized way.
So this is like very playful.
Excel
Comics. The
yeah,
Michael.
Michael is my character. So Michael is supposed to drive this knowledge in a funny and enjoyable way.
Everybody. Michael is an alien, right?
Exactly. She comes from the universe because the alien says that in the her there is a mess. We don't know what is the happiness, so they send her to reveal us the secret
So
of happiness.
kind of like exploring Earth.
Yeah, she explained her. And then because she has no memory of where she come from, because they cancel the memory, she's interviewing people and see who knows which is the secret of happiness. And so that's the mission of Michael, bringing the secrets of happiness, how to be happy in your life. And of course, this is a
It's also about women's cycles.
exactly. So the woman, I mean, I was thinking we are half of the planet that is women. So it's very important to know how it works and with a cycle. And we are cyclic. We have these four phases where we have four archetypes in which you can tap. So we have the maiden, the other, the enchantress, and
You can see the enchantress also has a black cat like me. So even before you met me and my cat, you were drawing.
yeah. I was in the net. The creativity has no past and future is an illusion. Everything is there. So yeah, so this is a book I did, taking the concept of Miranda Gray and making the comics to make it more accessible to.
So this is also like you can cut it out and play with it.
Yeah, yeah. What is it?
So she said. So how old people should read this one? This is like for young teenagers or children.
So there is part is kind of seems childish because you can cut it. Because I imagine also mother with their daughters, they can do it. So it's also
You have like quite very sexual mandalas, yeah.
why not? Also, the girls should see that because sensuality, there is nothing bad, nothing judgmental. We don't have to make.
And you guys are color them. They're like, wow.
Yeah,
These are very cool mandalas, kind of like sexual, sensual. Okay.
yeah. So how to do your half? Yeah, there is also an kind of practice you can do to connect to your cycle. And yeah, I mean, with Miranda Gray, we of course we work together somehow to see the content somehow to she inspiration. But I had this black cat, the black cat. Yeah, you see, I love the black cat. Me too. It's a very important. Yeah, black cat and black.
Yeah, the virgin and the mother.
Exactly.
It's other archetype.
Ovulation, menstruation, menstruation, the chrome. And also these are I imagine you have read the tales when you was a child, there are always these four archetypes. Because that was a way anciently when people just tried this knowledge. So this is very important knowledge. I think is very should be read in the schools because very important to.
And this is like a fun way how to do it.
Yeah. So comics is about fun. Exactly. So art can have different flavors. It's like you prepare a menu and you have somehow the same atmosphere, but you have different flavors. So comics is a way for me to transmit things with fun and easiness. And yeah, because I think life should be fun, joyful, not a food. Of course, we have challenges, we have struggles, but honestly, it should be nice.
And your art is making life more fun.
Mm. I think this is something very important for me. Yes.
Yeah, all the colors, all the comics. Have you ever made like sad or pessimistic, negative kind of art, or is it always like colorful and beautiful for you?
I mean, in the stories of the comics, of course, there are moments in which there is fears, there's all the emotions. It's part of the story. So colorful, I think, are the colors, are the environment, are the ideas, but of course, you have struggles. You have, even now, I'm thinking I would love to do a comics about the problems because it's a way to channel and support people. But the serious problem also. For example, I'm thinking I would love to do something about
Attachment theories,
yeah,
ghosting and avoidance, people who just disappear and there's a talk to and then you feel like abandoned. And that's like a big issue right now.
exactly. So, of course, that's my way of seeing art. So, art is inspirational. Art is inspiration, inspire you to have a better life. So, it can be the painting, inspire you kind of joy or connection with nature, but can be a comics, has to inspire you to have a better life. So, I really want to help support this generation, a young generation that are facing all these behavioral strange situation like of ghosting, gaslighting, avoidance, anxious way of connecting with people. So there is a fragility that is pop up respect the time of my grandmother and grandfather, probably because of the many reasons, but it's not now the moment to talk about that. But the thing is, of course, if, for example, making a comics about that, the topic is tough. That's what I like. That's what I think is for me is like making genius book is something that I think I want to do more and more. Genius book is books that really face big topic like death, whatever, this kind of but just twisting it in a way that can become an opportunity to grow and really give you an equipment to know how to face them. It's like the Felines situation. So you're not a victim of this, but you become the queen or the king of your experience. You become the person who is really the hero, not the victim. Because the victimhood brings to very sad actions also in the young generation, suicide, all this kind of thing. So should not happen this. So I think that sometimes knowledge can save your life. It's serious. Super serious. So the fact that I do it probably with the fun doesn't mean that it is a stupid, it's silly things. I really want to to commit to things very deep, very profound, but of course.
You make the dark topics a little bit lighter so they are easier to digest, I guess.
And also, if you do, that's what I think, when I was seeing companies that work with banks and also pharmaceutical, very, very serious company in a way. Just serious, I mean, the topic is kind of very serious, not very entertainment, banks and pharmaceuticals are kind of. But the thing is, if you bring the colors, if you bring this storytelling that is easy to read, you incentive people to read it and to get this knowledge. That otherwise, if it should be in a form of very deep, book like it has, and not many people have the patience to go into that. So probably it's more modern way to communicate, make it more accessible and more manageable, stressful situation. That's something that also can pop up.
So art is also like relief from stress and hard situations.
Absolutely. It is because especially is a way also to when you practice mandala, as you see, when you practice art, when you practice even can be music, it doesn't have to be painting. But when you practice art, you start to stop your mind torturing you with thoughts, stressful thoughts, because you are in the moment, you are in a creative state, and everything's disappear. So when you make this emptiness, you shift your perspective. So you shift your mood, you shift your emotions, and so probably shift the way you act and react.
So it's like a magical tool, actually.
Yeah, I think art is like when you run, you don't have to be a runner, professional runner to run. You run because it's good for your health every day. So even art, people can practice art like an important practice to connect their beauty and their potential, and then again get out from the victimhood and become creators.
Yeah, create your own life as well.
You create your life every day. You are a creator. You are the artist of your life. So that's, I think, is a good final message probably to say is that at the end, that's the message I would like to spread. You are the artist of your life. Everybody's artist of his.
Yeah, and you're the person who is opening doors so people to tap into their own strengths and beauty and magic.
Yeah.
Through the art that you are making out of the conversations that you have with people.
I think that this is, for me, is the best thing is inspired. I don't know, I think you can think about your life. There are people, situation inspire you and open your door, and suddenly says, wow, I never imagined I can do that. I can imagine I can live like that. So for me, it's more sexy to be a person who inspires than a person to educate and tell you what you have to do, because this is very kind of very limiting you, your way of doing the things, and say that you have to follow me. No way. You are the creator of your life. I just want to be a person who inspire you.
Wow.
I have my way to feel the magic, to express myself, but we are not equals in this. Everybody's different. So everybody has his own way. So that's important for even young person. There's a young person listen to this video. Find your way, your own way. So, and even, now we have social media that they have a lot of models, and there is the temptation to feel that there is one way to be nice, one way to be cool, because we see these, influencers who have so many recognition. And so we think, oh, this is what is cool. No way. It doesn't mean that you are valuable if you have so many followers. Honestly, imagine you go to a shop with so many followers where they don't come enter in the shop. So I just want to bring some irony and just say, you know what? Forget everything about what the society is pushing you like a role model. That's the funny way. Find your own way to be you and enjoy who you are, because you are great. Everybody has a such incredible gift. We have different gift, different, we have flowers, different colors, different, we don't have to be similar. It's not nice. Imagine you go in a place and in the world only margaritas or only roses, even roses that I love, it will be boring. It's nice to have variety. So it's nice for, like, imagine that you have to find your flower, which flower you are, which is your fragrance. So you are an artist in this way when you recognize which flower you are, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. Of course, everybody's different and everybody has different colors, different flavors. And I also feel that everybody has different way. So it's not,
Exactly.
we're not all the same.
That's the thing for me is very important. The art is like when you practice art, you cultivate your independent way of thinking. Critic thinking is means that you have to really find what is your truth, not the truth of others. And they can be kind of people are mentors that support us in the path. Very important, like it happens to me many times. I have a lot of gratitude to my mentors, but always my true mentors wants me to be free from them. Very important. So that's why I share this message. The person who probably see this video also now, and because we're talking about art, we're talking about colors, beauty, and finding way. Pay attention to the people who tell you that you have to follow them, because otherwise you will not find the right path is the path they say. No way. Nobody will really, I think, understand the true human nature will say that, because we are all different. So, like a mentor, I can propose a way. This is not their way, it's like a possibility. Yeah, like God says, the way shifts all the time, depending by the moment. So, depending where you live, sometimes you need certain experience, but then you have to live it to grow and to continue.
This is like me coming to Barcelona and now leaving after 7 months. I needed this experience, but now I also need to leave. I mean, I want to leave because I feel that I need the peace and calmness of home again, like Estonia. So yeah,
Exactly. And so it's nice to say that we have this journey constantly changing, like a piece of art. When I paint, always I have an idea, probably says, okay, I will paint a jungle, blah, blah, blah. And then I start to do it. But in the process, things change so many times. And the outcome at the end sometimes is never, I couldn't imagine it before like this. Is a process. So art teach me that life is a process. There is no something says, okay, I finished the painting and now I'm happy. No way. The fun is the process. So the fun is you coming here, have the experience to want to come home, and then who knows? Who knows? Probably you will change again. Okay, it will change again. And the thing is, the less attached we have to what should be life, And the better is, because this is what is life here. Experience, experiment your palette of colors, try these colors. And then when you find the colors that you love, because this is also something important, there is a certain kind of cycle. When you grow, there is a moment in which you says, okay, you know what? But I understand that I want to deep the color red and yellow and I don't know, green. And now I want to focus to all the possibility of these three colors. So you focus because you have experiment many things. So there is a moment in which you know yourself, you know what you resonate, and you decide to go deeper and deeper in something. And still you have a lot of space for explore and discover things. So that's the magic. It's such a beautiful opportunity, you know. And yeah, art is you are a piece of art. I'm a piece of art. You, everybody is a living piece of art until you understand you are. It's very sad. That's why I think soul pot is nice, making the pot of people like they are the masterpiece. I love this idea. You know, everybody should have access to the possibility to have their own, you know, themselves like a masterpiece.
Actually, a friend of mine, she wrote a book. So Cherry Stringer, she's also like a coach. She's in the US. Recently, she wrote a book about how everybody is their own masterpiece. And she talks about building her own masterpiece. So I'm hearing this from many different sources.
Yeah.
This month ago, that was very, very recent, that she published a book about being your own masterpiece, building your masterpiece. And now we're also saying the same thing.
Exactly. And until 3 years ago was the sentence you found in my website. You are the masterpiece, or make your life your masterpiece. That means that, well, I say to myself, important not to be like so exigent, like perfectionist, you know, like, oh, I have to do my masterpiece. So the stress that you have to create something incredible. No. But of course, the approach to life, the way to honor experience we have every day is an opportunity to paint your canvas and to make it very important. But even moment in which you have the gray, you put the gray because there's nothing happens, still is part of the painting, because we need sometimes moments in which nothing happens to accumulate energy inside of us.
Yeah. Yeah. So every day is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say that somebody wants to work with you. Where can they find you? Where are you like? Okay, they can find you in Barcelona, maybe, or but online. Where are you located?
Yeah, I'm located in the website is www.ariannaruffinengo.eu. So if they want to, I have a website. So in the website, they find my art pieces, my offerings and things.
I think there's also possibility to buy your amazing paintings online. And also, if somebody doesn't want like actual painting, you can get like prints and cups and t-shirts and all the crazy stuff with your art.
Yeah, there is also, yeah, they can have prints in fine art where I put some of my paintings. Yes. And yeah, they can write me, and also if they're interested, for example, in so portrait or
LinkedIn?
we can LinkedIn. Yeah. LinkedIn also. LinkedIn is Kachavant and the website is the painting. There will be some reference, I imagine.
Yeah, we put the list in the description so people can just join there. And of course, by the end of the episode, we also had a Feline for equal parts. Because yeah, cats always do whatever they want. So she's like, okay. And they said, I can. She's like your little black panther. She said, yeah. She said, okay, I will look up to the camera. Yeah, I'm leaving. Yes, typical cat, typical independent, wild woman, feline, whatever.
She does what she wants.
Yeah, good example for us. How to lead our lives with confidence and madness.
And always know when it's time to come and when it's time to go.
Okay. She made sure that she was like in this episode for a few seconds. Okay, done. Yeah, exit. No needed.
Yeah, okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Silja. Thank you to also the person who is looking this. Thank you so much. It was amazing talking to you.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Finally, we made it happen.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.